everybody. This is Zookeeper Joe again with another adventure here at Brookfield Zoo. Today I'm over at the Reptiles and Birds building, and I'm going to be showing you some of the very cool animals we have here. Our first exhibit here houses our prehensile tail skinks. Now we have a mom, a dad, and their little baby that was born about 5.5 months old, or he's about 5.5 months old. He's back there up at the top in the corner. Now these animals are very cool for a lot of different reasons. First, these pair, this mother and dad pair, is genetically valuable. Now what I mean by that is when we breed animals throughout zoos, we breed animals to make sure we have a good genetic variation. Now these two animals are special because they were born in the wild. Mom and dad were actually brought to us due to a confiscation of illegal animal trafficking. And they came to here and we paired them together, and sure enough they've graced us with actually 3 babies over the last 2 years. Last year they had a set of twins. Now these prehensile tail skinks have a prehensile tail. Now what does that mean? That means that very long tail that makes up about 1/3 of their body length can grip and hold on the branches as they traverse through the canopy of the trees in the Solomon Islands where they live. Now, to all you moms out there and dads, these animals are very special because they actually are one of the few reptile species that actually care for their young. So when mom and dad received this joy into their life, they became very protective. Mom and dad both threatened keepers daily if we came anywhere near close to their kid, which I'm sure you can relate to. Now, what's cool about these animals also is that baby, when they're born, they are live births. So these reptiles do not lay eggs. It's typical that they give birth to one. It's rare that they give birth to twins, and there's actually been one, I think, case of triplets. Now, to give you an idea, when they come out, they're about 11 inches long and about 100 grams. Mom is about 2 feet long, 2.5 feet long, and about 500 to 600 grams. So that would be just like if a female gave birth to a 6-year-old child. And sometimes they have twins. Just some food for thought. All right, so now we're going to move down to some amphibians. So in this enclosure, we have poison dart frogs, very famous. Everybody knows they're beautiful colors. So in this exhibit here, we have black and green poison dart frogs, yellow and black, anthony dart frogs, and one strawberry dart frog. Now we're trying to zoom in. So in this tank, we have a lot of anthony that breed continuously. So we have a lot of little babies, sometimes hopping around, sometimes little tadpoles swimming around that you can see. So dart frogs, as everybody always comes in and wants to know, are they poisonous? Now these dart frogs that we have in here are not poisonous. The poison part of the dart frog is when they metabolize the food that they eat in the wild, it gives them that poison capability. Now these animals here do not eat anything from the wild. They eat crickets and fruit flies that we supply to them. So none of these here are poisonous or dangerous to us. Now again, these guys are very dedicated parents. The anthony frogs especially, we have seen them here where they laid their eggs on one of these tall leaves that you see in the exhibit. And they sit there and they protect them from any of the other dart frogs or that want to come and disturb them. When it's time for the tadpoles to hatch out, they will hatch out, and if they don't fall into the water, mom and dad will actually collect the tadpoles onto their back and then bring them down to the water. Some dart frog species will actually hatch, that once the tadpoles hatch, will actually bring them up to a plant such as a bromeliad from the region that they're found, and the tadpoles will live in that bromeliad and eat little insects that are actually home to in that bromeliad. So here we have just a few species. In the wild, there's over 200 species of dart frogs. They're They range from all over Central and South America, nice humid tropical environments. This is only just a small smattering of the number of color variations that you can see. You might see some guys jumping around. They are very tiny.
Oh, I lost him. I just had him in my sight. Where'd he go?
Most of the babies that we have here that we see, probably they could fit on your thumbnail, and those guys are only about a week or two fully metamorphed out. Oh, there's one that just fell down.
There he is. Oh, right into the shot. That was great.
Yeah. So yeah, come and see them. They're a lot of fun to watch. So next we're going to go to a very interesting reptile called the beaded lizard. As you see, they're very lazy lizards. They don't get around too much. They're somewhat slow, but these guys just love their nice warm rocks and they sit down. Now what makes this lizard very special is this is one of 2 species of venomous lizards. Truly venomous lizards. These guys are found in Mexico, Guatemala. We have 2 females and 1 male. I believe the male is the one that's up in front, just laying kind of limp over that rock. Now, these animals in the wild are nest predators. So pretty much they eat bird, other reptile, mammal eggs. Any eggs that they find, that is their primary diet. And they have such jaw strength in that mouth that they can crush very, very hard eggs. And if they were to get some live prey, they would bite down. And their strength is so immense that if a person were to get bit by one, it would take several people and a pry bar to actually get that mouth open. Now, what makes these animals venomous, and a special type, is they have modified salivary glands. So those salivary glands produce a venom that is not initially injected into your body like you would see a venomous snake. What these animals do is they bite a hole and they actually chew. And as they chew on all those wounds and punctures in your skin, that venom saliva will actually then trickle down into your body. Now, it is very rare for a human to die from their venom, but it will at least send you to the hospital. These animals here can lay clutches of eggs, about on average of 15 per clutch. Just a few years ago, we had about 16 eggs out of 1 animal. The amount of weight was almost a third or so of her body was just eggs. And these are very different. The other species of venomous lizard is called the Gila monster, which I think is more quite known as far as name goes. They're a little bit smaller and will have much different texture, or not texture, pattern as far as color pattern on their bodies. These guys have that banded tail and that kind of mottled back. So, very different. Come and see them. There's one hanging out underneath. That big fat tail, it's short and fat. That actually is where they store a lot of the fat that they will break down if food source is not good. So they store a lot of that energy as fat in that big tail. So a big telltale sign to us keepers and our vet staff is all of a sudden if this particular or a lot of other lizards, their tail gets very, very skinny. That is a sign that maybe something is wrong and we need to take them in. So we always make sure they have that nice big fat healthy tail. So now we're going to go to the last reptile on my list today. You can see some of the other guys here. They're waiting to see you when you come back. We're going to show you the largest reptile we have here. And just about the largest snake in the world. This is our reticulated python. These guys are found in Southeast Asia. Now, longest snake. On record, the longest retic is just over 20 feet long. Now this guy here doesn't reach that. Also on record, they can weigh up to, but rarely, about 120 pounds. This guy here is over 10 feet, Weighs in, I think the last time we weighed him, just over between 90 and 100 pounds. Now this animal is not a venomous animal. He is a constrictor. So he's gonna bite, hold on, and then wrap that long, lengthy body around you. Now, when they bite in and hold on, they have modified teeth, multiple teeth in that mouth, and they are modified fish hooks, backwards facing fish hooks. So when they bite in, it sinks in, and it's actually hard to pull back out. The only way to really get out is to push farther in, release the fish hooks, and then pry its mouth open, which prey don't typically do. These are excellent swimmers. Where they're found, they actually can swim from small island to small island if need be. These guys are known, this species and other different species have been known to be or are invasive into southeast United States in the Everglades. These animals have been released as ex-pets into there, just kind of dumped, and they can actually cause quite a bit of damage in those areas because of their survival rate. This animal can lay 15 to 80 eggs per clutch, and mom sits on those eggs. So not many predators in southeast United States can compete with a, say, 10-foot long, 100-pound female snake sitting on upwards of 80 eggs. They'll eat anything or kill anything that comes close. And if you have most of those eggs hatch, that's a lot of animals released into the wild every year. And those babies aren't much of a slouch. Those babies are about 2 feet in length when they're born. So, quite crazy. Now, one thing about this animal, I'll give you a nice little thing. Can this animal eat you? Probably not. This animal would have a hard time eating because you are born with wide shoulders. You can't fit down its mouth. So, if this animal were trying to eat you, it'd have to go the hard route of trying to eat you feet first, which is not typically how they eat their prey. So, I hope you enjoyed it all. Now it's time for questions.
Just a personal observation from me. I mean, snakes, reptiles don't bother me, but the thought of all of them slithering around, that many of them, that creeps me out a little bit. Okay.
It does. It does. And some snakes out there do give live birth, which means that they don't lay eggs. So you might just be walking around and we have found it here where all of a sudden there's 10 baby snakes in an exhibit. So, it's fun.
So we had a question about the skink.
Yes.
What color are their tongues?
What color are their tongues? Their tongues are pink.
Their tongues are pink. Let's look at...
Sorry, the birds are loud in here.
Holy cow, I think they miss people. They pay attention. So these are the skinks. So they have pink tongues? Mm-hmm. Okay. And what do they eat?
These guys are herbivores. They like a diet of leafy greens, fruits, veggies. And don't let their appearance fool you. That big head, you see that kind of bulbous part in the back? They can deliver a mighty vicious bite. That is a very strong set of jaws, let me tell you. But they do love their veggies.
And we had a question about the poison dart frogs.
Sure.
So how many species do we have here at the zoo?
Currently at the zoo, we have 4 different species. We have all 4 in here. We have the anthony, which are the ones that you see in a lot of the pictures that we've been showing. They're that brown, the little strip of turquoise. Then we have the yellow and black, which just look almost not like a bumblebee, but imagine those colors. We have the green and black. And then we have the strawberry. Strawberry is going to be the hardest to find because we have only 1.
And how many total do we have?
How many total? The last census that we took, we have 2 green and black, 2 black and yellow in this exhibit. And the last I counted was we had 10 anthony, but I can tell you probably within the last several months I've seen over 20 babies born. So we'll find out at the end of the year when we do a census of how many we actually have. But we do have partners with other zoos that will take our excess because they are a great and love exhibit animals.
All right. Hang on, let me just scroll because there's a lot of questions about the bird. What bird is that? And let's see. Sorry, guys. What's the typical lifespan for all of these animals?
Typical lifespan for the dart frogs here, it's up to about 3 years in the wild. The PT skinks, they can live easily into their teens. Beaded lizards, same thing, teens or older. Pythons can live quite a long time, well over 20 years.
All right, and then we did have another question about the beaded lizards. So let's go over. I mean, we might as well, right? Take a little walk. So the question for them was, do they eat eggs here at the zoo?
Yes, they actually got eggs today, some hard-boiled eggs in a dish on the bottom. They also get prey items. You can see there's what's left of 3 hard-boiled eggs. We do leave the shell on. They actually will process that as extra calcium in their body. They get prey items. They get chicks and rats, but they don't need to eat too often. They only eat 2 times a week. Because when you do this all day, you don't need a lot of energy.
And how big do these guys get?
They are full grown, so let's say if we were to pull him out and measure him, he'd probably be 3 feet long from tip of his nose to the tip of his tail. And you know, honestly, they don't weigh too much. They're only about 3 pounds. Which is pretty crazy.
All right, let me just scroll up my comments again. Sorry guys, I'm not doing my best job monitoring the comments today. Well, you know what? We have a lot of comments about the birds. Do you think we could just walk over real
You
quick
could
and
go
see
see the
them?
birds, yeah, they'd love to see us.
Because, I mean, I know you're not the bird guy.
No, not the bird guy.
But let's go see who's making that noise.
I mean, the reptiles did come first. We made the birds, so might as well stand. So the bird you hear talking, that's our macaw.
Thank you.
He hasn't seen anybody but us in a long time.
All right. Up in here.
Okay, well, we're all done here. Thank you again for joining me on this adventure today. We can't wait to see you very soon when we open back up. Walk around, see our cool exhibits, our dinosaur exhibits that are out now. And thank you again for your continuing support in these tough times. All right, take care, everybody. Stay healthy. Bye-bye.